So obviously vegans get extremely uncomfortable when I tell them that I don't believe red meat is the cause of all suffering in the world. When I tell people that red meat has not been proven to cause disease, people obviously start freaking out and they tell me, but there's all this science and science is proven it and blah blah blah. Here's the thing, okay? Number one, I was vegan for close to 1 year, okay? And it destroyed my health. Number two, I started adding meat back into my diet and removed a lot of plant foods, and my health took a 180 turn. In fact, I started feeling like I was a teenager again. Number three, I'm now 27 years old, and I feel healthier, more energetic, and happier than I've ever been in my life. Number four, when I was vegan, I felt like a 6-year-old man. It was horrible. And look at people like Vegan Gaines, who dislocated both of his knees, and then he says he threw out his back taking a shit. Seriously, and that's not even the beginning of all of his health problems. And look at the hundreds and hundreds of ex-vegans who come out every single month saying the same shit that I've been saying about my digestive problems and all sorts of shit. And then when they start eating primarily red meat, they go straight carnivore, the other extreme, then they start to thrive. They look like they're on steroids after a couple months, and they just feel amazing. So, yeah, it's first of all, just based on that, it's kind of foolish to be like so convinced that red meat is the devil. There's so many people that are eating red meat as a basis of their diet for such a long period of time, and they're posting their results on the World Carnivore Tribe Facebook group. You should really check that out. It is hard to ignore. Okay, anecdotes are useful as long as you exercise skepticism. So you should exercise skepticism whether you're vegan or not, and go and fucking look at that group unless you're scared to challenge your paradigm. Anyway, here's the thing. So, population studies, okay, do not convince me that red meat is bad. Every article, scientific article, or every time people reference a population study, no matter who it is, Dr. fucking Greger, Dr. Esselstyn, any of those motherfuckers, when they start, when you they're fucking, John McDougall used Uganda as an example of why grains are healthy and red meat is bad. Uganda is like a poverty country that dies of shit like Ebola. And he says, oh, like they're not dying of heart disease and they eat a high carb diet. They don't eat much cholesterol. And that was what caused me to start looking at cholesterol as a cause of heart disease. He said that in a fucking lecture. You should look that up. Fucking retarded. Anyway, population data does not convince me of any kind of causation whatsoever. And really, if you use population data, if you use the blue zone data, which actually uses many populations of people who live past 100 that eat a lot of animal products, a wide variety. They also eat a lot of plant foods, by the way. The people of Crete eat up to 60% of their calories from olive oil, which is not animal fat, but they do eat a lot of animals. Anyway, the blue zones give us a lot of insight that we can ask questions and infer further. The countries with the highest rates of disease, like Hong Kong has like the lowest rates, the longest life expectancy as of 2018, and they also eat the most red meat. But there's other questions to ask. We could easily just say, oh, red meat causes their high life expectancy. But they also are one of the richest countries in the world, and they have great health care. Now, I'm not going to say either one is the cause. I'm just giving you an example Okay, you could easily say, oh, red meat is actually good. Okay, or you could say, oh, they have health care. You know, it's a population study. It's correlation, and it does not prove causation. And most of the the vegan propaganda is based, and it is propaganda. There's propaganda on both sides. If you fucking think for 1 second that the grain industry, that Bayer and Monsanto, the same company now, do not influence research, you're full of fucking shit. Like, that's crazy. The meat and dairy industry do too. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, so most of this vegan science everyone talks about is based on population data. And then there's observational trials and food questionnaire crap. Food questionnaire shit where they take people for 10 years, right? They use food questionnaires. They ask them at the end of a 10-year trial period. They ask them, hey, so how many times a month did you eat red meat over the last 10 years? Who the fuck is going to remember all the times they ate red meat per week, per month, over the course of 10 years? No one's going to be able to remember, damn, how many times I eat red meat in the last 10 years? You can estimate. Is that really reliable? You know, and people say, oh, you know, anecdotes are useless. You know, we need scientific studies. Oh, you mean population studies? Those are more credible than anecdotes, huh? They're controlled and they're rigid. They're rigid. They're placebo controlled. They're based on food questionnaires. So, you know, it's like, yeah, I know everyone wants to be scientifically correct, right? We all want to be accurate based on the data. Science is extremely important for preventing people from believing in fucking bullshit, for helping us understand why we get the results we get. But when we choose scientific data over practical reality, the results that we're getting in the world, when we're saying, oh yeah, sure, you know, thousands of people seem to be healing themselves eating a diet of only red meat. But based on population data and food questionnaires of people who eat a standard American diet and red meat as a part of that, red meat eaters have more disease compared to non-red meat eaters, even though they're eating a whole lot more junk than just red meat. In the questionnaire studies and everything, people eat red meat with booze and fucking potato chips and french fries, okay, and sodas. The more red meat people eat, probably the more hamburgers and sodas and french fries they're eating too. And that's the vast majority of red meat eaters in society, in population studies and in observational trials. And then, of course, you have the Seventh-day Adventist studies, which people say, oh, well, you know, these people tend to be healthier and blah, blah, blah. And again, they only eat a plant-based diet for mainly religious purposes. And the people who choose to eat meat and they're still part of that religion, chances are they're not very health conscious. If they can't even give up meat for their religion, what makes, you know, so. And also, people who eat red meat in average society usually don't care about their health. And then, of course, they eat a lot of processed red meat as well. And some studies control for processed meat. Some people do, some do not. But processed red meat's a completely different ballgame than fresh meat that you cook yourself. So the vast majority of people in these studies are not eating a paleo diet with a ribeye steak and lots of broccoli and greens. You know what I mean? Or a carnivore diet. So people who eat mainly red meat, they always talk about how they're reversing their diseases. They feel younger again. All of a sudden their health is restored compared to when they were a vegan. They felt like shit. But yet red meat is a cause of all illness based on population data and questionnaires. That's fucking stupid. I can't believe, like, no matter, like, all this shit, all I can do is ask questions. Ask, how are these carnivore people getting their results, and using population data and mechanistic data to help me understand that. And the mechanistic data behind veganism, you're going to have to look at all my other videos on that, because it's weak and they lie. It's half-truths. Leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Subscribe.